Hi, how's it going, District 43? This is your representative, Representative Adam Gardiner. We're doing week 2. We have just finished week 2 today. In fact, I just got out of my last committee. It was a Law Enforcement and Criminal Justice Committee. We actually had quite a big bill, just barely heard. It was HB 200, rape kits testing. You've probably heard a lot about it. It'll most likely be on the news tonight. It was sponsored by Representative Romero of Salt Lake City. And this mandates that every single rape kit, anytime that someone goes through a rape or a sexual assault, it's obviously a traumatizing experience, and it's also a traumatizing experience to get tested for this type of offense. And so what happens now currently is the process is very, very expensive. And so there's a huge fiscal note, a lot of money attached to this bill, $2.5 million, so that every agency, every law enforcement agency will be able to send these kits to the state. It's a really big deal. So it passed through our committee unanimously. I was obviously a vote yes. And so now we got to find the money. That's the next biggest hurdle. So it's going to come to the House floor soon. So watch for that, HB 200. We're really excited for that to pass through. And the cool thing about this is previous legislation has not kind of had all the stakeholders involved, and so this is the first year where all of the stakeholders, including law enforcement, the Police Chiefs Association, the Sheriff's Association, everybody's kind of been on board with this, and all the stakeholders are involved and approve, and the legislature is on board. And so Representative Romero's really done her homework, and I assume the bill was going to go forward without a problem. The funding is really the big issue there. So I want to give you a couple updates on my bills. The first bill that I passed out of the House floor was passed out this week. It was passed out on Wednesday, HB 135. And so now that is over on the Senate side, and it's in the Rules Committee, and we're just waiting to see what committee it's assigned to. The Rules Committee in the House and in the Senate gets every single bill sent to them, and they decide which committee hears those bills. So we're just waiting to find out which one we are assigned to. HB 143 is up on the third reading calendar. If it's up on the third reading calendar, if you can look on le.utah.gov and follow this at home. You can actually see when the bills are going to be heard. We're 10th or 12th down, so hopefully we'll get to it by Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. You never know in the legislature. Today we pretty much just debated one bill, and that is HJR 3, calling for a convention of the states. It was really heated. I got a ton of email about it, a ton of phone calls about it. I tried to respond to all of those, and I think I did respond to all of those. And I ended up voting yes on calling for a convention of the states. There's been a lot of back and forth on this, and in my opinion, Congress and the presidency has screwed up our spending issues so horribly. We're $20 trillion in debt. Congress isn't fixing the problem. What is the harm in sending delegates to a convention of the states? This is a long way down the road. Just because we pass this resolution in the state of Utah, we are years down the road. I think for other states to pass similar legislation, to actually call on Congress to call this convention. And the advantage is, if we don't like what the convention comes out with, we don't have to ratify it here in the state of Utah, and that's a good thing. So there's still lots of checks and balances in that process. Two bills I want to talk really quickly about that we were debating on the House floor, another full day of just debating these two bills. One was sponsored by our very own Speaker, Greg Hughes, to ask the president to rescind his the national monument. President Trump didn't create it. President Obama did in his last weeks in office. The Bears Ears National Monument. Utah will always be a public land state. I know that to be true, and I believe that to be the case. But a national monument was absolutely not. It was not the correct way to preserve the artifacts in this area. I believe the President of the United States was wrong when he created a national monument, and I believe that he abused the Antiquities Act that he used to create the national monument. So I voted yes on asking the President to rescind the national monument. It would be the first time in history that it's ever been done if President Trump does it, and I hope he does. There was another bill, HCR 12, which dealt with the Grand Escalante Staircase National Monument. This was asking the President of the United States to actually change and modify the borders, and I really hope that that goes through too. It could be reduced as much as 50%. So all the things that need to be protected would still be protected, but this would provide a lot more local control. Not only that, but the schools are actually dwindling to pretty dangerous rates down there. No one can live there. There are some tourism jobs, but the local economy has really suffered, and school kids aren't going to school there, and they're not staying in the Escalante region. They're moving away, and so there's a real economic problem there that has to be addressed. And so hopefully if we can reduce the size of this national monument, that will help. If you're ever coming to the Capitol, please do not hesitate to let me know. Follow me on Facebook and send me a Facebook message, send me a text. You can find my information online, le.utah.gov, and you can just type in my name and click on the legislator section, and you should be able to find me. Send me an email, Adam Gardiner, AdamGardiner, at le.utah.gov. Please don't hesitate to contact me. Thanks so much for watching.